Once upon a time, there lived a man named Jack, a normal guy like you and me. One day, he hears the gentle, quiet voice of God impress upon his heart that he wants Jack to become a pastor. Jack's heart is strangely warmed by this encounter with God. He pictures himself serving God, teaching the Bible with a passion, loving people, and seeing them blossom in their faith. And he envisions the people in the church loving him. So, he goes to seminary. He reads lots of books and ministry blogs. He follows on Twitter pastors of growing churches, and he attends church growth conferences. He's preparing himself to be a successful pastor. He gets his first church, and the first few months the people love him and his teaching and his leadership. He feels very affirmed. Soon, though, he realizes that he can't please some people, so he doubles his efforts to make them happy. Yet his efforts fall short. Anger and anxiety and disappointment begin to grow, and something begins to happen to his heart. It begins to shrink. After a few years, the grass on the other side of the fence seems greener, so he goes to a bigger church. The first few months are great. The people seem to love him, but it doesn't take long to realize that some people can't be pleased here either. He redoubles his efforts to please them. In the process, though, without realizing it, some people-pleasing patterns become second nature. And the more he tries to please them, the more anxious and angry and discouraged he gets, and the more his heart seems to shrink. Then one day he reads about a study where 2,000 pastors revealed a growing problem that affects 70% of church leaders today. It's called approval-motivated leadership. The more he reads, the more he realizes that he himself has become a people-pleaser. Sadly, he admits that trying to please church critics and unhappy boards has muffled the voice of God and shrunk his heart further still. So he makes a decision. With the Lord's help, he's going to change. He starts to speak his mind and stand his ground more often. Slowly but surely, he catches himself when he starts to people-please. He worries less about what others think about him, and he begins to quit trying to make the critics happy. Over time, and with lots of hard work and prayer, Jack's joy in the Lord and his passion for ministry begins to return, and he begins to hear God's gentle, quiet voice, for his heart is once again full. This once-upon-a-time story about Jack is not make-believe at all. It's real because it's the story of Charles Stone, me, and how for the last 33 years I've been a pastor, I've been overcoming my people-pleasing tendencies, and I'm still recovering. Yet, when I first realized my pleaser tendencies, I didn't know what to do, and that's why I wrote the book, People-Pleasing Pastors, Avoiding the Pitfalls of Approval-Motivated Leadership. It weaves together my story and the stories of many other pastors like Jack who struggled to overcome and avoid people-pleasing. Based on the Bible and new research about how we can use insight about how our brain works to counter people-pleasing, it offers practical steps pastors and church leaders can take to help avoid and overcome approval-motivated leadership. I pray that it will encourage you and help you enlarge your heart for Him and His church.